Hello again, everyone. Welcome to another episode of RV Business Capital Talk, sponsored by Eric. I'm Rick Kessler. He's Sherman Goldenberg, and joining the two of us, we have a very familiar face and name, and that's Chris Smith. Chris most recently was with FMCA, but now he is, and I'm going to have to read this title, the Senior Director of Community and Events for the Harvest Host Club, which includes escapees, and that's pretty important distinction to make. Chris, thank you for joining us.
Well, I feel like I'm back now after being on the sidelines for 6 months. Whenever, I've made this joke many times when I come on here, but Sherm's he's an OG of the RV community, so I know I'm back in the community when I get to talk to him.
And
Yeah,
the fact is, you left your position at FMCA in July, and only recently was it announced that you now are with Harvest Hosts.
Yeah, so kind of around that time I left, the news came out that Harvest Host had acquired Escapees, and that was kind of pretty good timing to kind of explore that option. And it had just happened, so I think Harvest Host had to kind of get their head around the Escapees RV Club, because it is a kind of a different business than what they have under the umbrella now. But yeah, I think it was meant to be, and it all kind of worked out perfectly for me to come over.
not to assume that everybody knows what does Harvest Host do?
Yeah, so Harvest Host is the easiest way to describe it. They have about 5,000 locations throughout the United States, and you pay a yearly fee of $99, and you have access to that network. And it's unique places to stay, not your just normal campground. They have wineries, breweries, farms, just kind of unique places to stay where you can dry camp. You don't have to pay a nightly fee to stay there. You're just expected to spend some money with the host. So if it's a winery, go in and buy a bottle, which works out to be cheaper than paying for a campsite. So you pay that one yearly fee, and then you just spend money with each host as you stay there.
And Escapees, founded in 1978 by the Peterson family. And this is where I want you to help explain it, but Harvest Host didn't acquire all of the Escapees properties, just certain segments of it. Explain, please.
Yeah, so what they did not acquire was the mail forwarding operation, which is very popular within Escapees. They also did not acquire the discount Escapees parks. There are 8 of those. So those businesses stayed with the cars during the transaction. And what Harvest Host acquired was the membership side, the magazine, the events, and the community, which are the chapters and the Birds of a Feather groups. But there are agreements in place with to keep the mail forwarding as an Escapees member benefit. So while it's operated separately, you have to be a member of Escapees to take advantage of the mail forwarding. So those agreements are still in place. They're not going anywhere, and members still have access to the discount parks as well. There is a process being done now where the cars are selling 7 of 8 of those parks, but in the contracts of the sale, they still have to honor the Escapees discount. So while they're operated separate, they are still 100% Escapees benefits.
And the cars, of course, Melanie and Travis Carr, the third generation of the
Correct.
Peterson family.
Yep.
Go ahead, Sherm.
What does this mean for the greater consumer population, recreation vehicle population in North America? I'm not just saying so much you personally, but for the next initiatives of the escapees and Harvest Hosts.
Yeah, so I think throughout the years, Harvest Host, the leadership, they've made some pretty smart acquisitions along the way to help broaden their footprint, in the RV industry. So it started with Harvest Host, then they acquired Boondockers Welcome. That's essentially the same concept as Harvest Host, but it's individual like people, not businesses where you can stay. They also acquired Britstops, a very similar business overseas that has host locations you can stay at. They also built a very vast discount program for um, if you wanted to stay at your traditional park instead of at a host location. They build a network of 1,100 discount parks. Um, the nice thing that they're doing with that acquisition, well, they actually built that from within, but it's just another thing they added to the business. But a way they're enhancing membership for Harvest Host and for escapees is that discount card that had 1,100 locations. They're forming that or joining that with the 400 discount parks escapees already had, to where they will have the largest discount program for parks, over 1,500 locations.
Mm.
That's included with dues, no extra cost. It's just being folded into the memberships they currently have,
Ooh.
which is a nice perk. Yeah.
So I want to have you talk about something, and this is no nice way to say it, I guess, maybe, but it's been 6 months since Harvest Host acquired Escapees, and when the news broke back in July last year, um, there were some naysayers. How has the transition been? Have you been able to calm some of those fears?
Yeah, I think some of the concern was warranted. You know, there are examples, I won't go into them, of these kinds of acquisitions kind of changing the culture or the offering that the company being acquired sees after the transaction. But they've kept everything the same. They being Harvest Host, I mean, the dues are the same. All of the events offered are untouched. And I think if there were plans to really change that core culture that Escapees has had for nearly 50 years, they wouldn't bring me in. They wouldn't bring someone in from the club world. They would have probably gone a different direction. So I think me coming on shows that investment that they want to continue the culture, but also build upon it and make it better. And we can kind of go into some of what that's going to look like if you want me to go ahead and talk about that.
Please do.
Um, yeah, I mean, you know, Harvest Host, uh, they have a lot of resources to help escapees, you know, continue to grow in the future, whether that's through membership. We're working on, since I've come on, you know, numerous benefits we can add to what's currently there. They have an amazing marketing team that can help us grow the membership, grow the attendees at the events. And one of the big things I wanted to talk about that Harvest Host is doing to kind of increase the value is currently right now, if you join Harvest Host, you pay $99 annually. If you wanted Boondockers Welcome, you're paying $79. If you want Escapees, you're paying $50. What's going to be launched in March is an all access plan where essentially you're paying $179. So you're paying for Harvest Host and Boondockers Welcome, but you're getting Escapees essentially just added in if you want the other two. So that's really attractive pricing. And that gives Harvest Host members access to escapees benefits they didn't have before. It gives them access to attend the events, to take advantage of the education offerings, um, to join, you know, the club and community. And that's kind of what was lacking with Harvest Host is they had a very innovative, popular product, but they were missing that community and events feel that kind of brings people together. And vice versa, you know, I think Escapees members will then have access to the wonderful network that Harvest Host has on top of the other thing too that they did I talked about before is they've added this discount card to all of membership as well. So you're getting that value, which was I think $40 per year thrown in as well. So they've able to bundle a lot of things that can really help you enjoy the RV lifestyle for a very, very affordable price.
Can you give me a couple of dimensions, rough numbers? What does Harvest Hosts amount to in terms of total enrollment, so to speak, at this point?
Yeah, so they're around about a quarter million members. So it's a pretty large membership they have. And yes, that's on the Harvest Host side. Escapees is about 35,000. There's some crossover. I don't have that exact number, but you're pushing $300,000 or 300,000 members altogether between the whole family.
Making it the lead in terms of volume of size, consumer organization or club, if that's a term, in North America at this time, right?
I would say so, yeah. I mean, as far as a true RV club, yes.
So let's bring it more into your role there. You're basically going to head up the escapees. What's your plan? What's on the agenda?
Yeah, we touched on some of it. What's unique about escapees is they have a pretty healthy offering of events already. So they have, your more typical RV show that you kind of imagine when you think of that, which is called Escapade. That's happening in March, so right around the corner. When I first came in, I went to an event they had called Bash, which is kind of more focused on their subset of escapees, which are called escapers, so it's your kind of younger, working, aged, full-time RVers. That was an event like I had never witnessed before. They know how to have a good time. They know how to party, and it's not really your typical RV event, but it really fits well for the group that they want to put that event on for. And then they have a lot of other smaller events too. They have hops, which kind of are more like a tour. It's not really in one spot. You kind of go from place to place. It can be a cruise or a tour of Alaska, but you're kind of moving around a little more. They have convergences, which are similar to Bash. It's kind of, again, for working age people. So instead of parking on site and having things to do all day, these people are working during the day, and then they have the events at night. They have hangouts, which is kind of the opposite. It's more of like your non-working people, so they have the events during the day and then you relax at night. They have a nice mixture of events that kind of touch on a lot of the different demographic you'll see in the RV world, but we still have a few ideas of other events we want to add into that as well. So kind of more to come on that, but we want to even offer more throughout the country to kind of make sure as many people that want to take advantage can. A big focus too is they have, we have chapters and we have birds of a feather groups. And, I think there may have been a little more attention could have been spent on growing those and making them more a part of escapees. And that's definitely a plan of mine because, again, a lot of people, you know, I think the adjustment for Harvest Host was realizing that an RV club is not similar to the relationship that Harvest Host has with their consumer base. Like this is more than just transactional and okay, here's the product you get. With a club, you're looking for a group to belong to. You want member benefits, you want the magazine, you want events, you want to belong to chapters and birds of a feather. Like you want to be with other RVers and share that experience and we want to expand those social groups as well because if you can get people in those groups, then they are definitely the ones that are more dedicated. They'll volunteer. Like they are the ones that are really bought in on that culture. So we want to grow those groups as well.
Well,
That's a lot on your plate.
Yeah, and that's one of the things. Like with Harvest Host, I told them I said, this is going to be a little different for you guys, and I think that's part of why I'm here. Is I understand that it's just a different relationship than most business consumer relationships.
Yeah.
I think we would be remiss for not making sure we mention Joel Holland, who is the guy, so to speak, behind the counter here. He's what in your description? He's what?
So Joel is the CEO of Harvest Host and everything that falls underneath it. You know, I knew Joel before I came on. Obviously not as well as I know him now, but he's a very. I mean, the whole idea of Harvest Host, if you think about it, is just brilliant, and the way that he's been able to kind of leverage this unique and innovative business and grow it the way he has, and then bring on other facets of the RV industry to kind of build the community has is pretty amazing. But the one thing I'll say is he will be at Escapade, so he will be in attendance for the full event. So I think that's really a great opportunity for Escapees members and Harvest Host members to join at the event in Tucson, March 16th through the 21st at the Pima County Fairgrounds, because he will be there. And I think, if you've met Joel, like he's a very down to earth guy, and anybody that wants to come up and talk to him, he'll have a chat with him.
I'm guessing that it might be a good moment for RV Business, Woodall's campground management magazines to be there as well.
We'd love to have you. Absolutely.
Tucson in March, come on. I can't think of a better place. Well, yeah, I'm looking out the window right now at a kind of a dreary, well, yeah, Chris, you're in Cincinnati, so you're getting the same thing, aren't you?
We I started with Harvest Host January 3rd. We had a foot of snow January 2nd, and there's still some of it on the ground. So if that tells you
Right.
how cold it's been here, yeah. So I'm looking forward to flying out to Arizona. Absolutely.
Very good. The congratulations on the move. Gonna do great. Know you will. You always have done. Um, Anything else you wanted to pass along that people should know about?
No, I'm just excited about, again, kind of the foundation that's been laid and using the resources of Harvest Host to make escapees even better. And I think that first step again is the all access plan. We kind of it doesn't officially launch till March, but it was offered at the Tampa show and the Courtside show. And to put some perspective on how popular it was, Harvest hosted as much business the first 3 days of Courtside as they had the whole event the previous year. And the big offering was that all access plan. So it's just going to benefit Harvest Hosts and escapees because if you take all access, you're a member of both and you get all of
Mhm.
the benefits under
Nice.
the Harvest Host umbrella. So that's kind of part one. And, there's many other things, in the works, but that's kind of the first big splash to kind of combine, you know, everything under the umbrella into one member benefit or one membership offering.
Very good. Sherm,
I
should we,
just
should we-
thought it'd be a nice moment to let him off the hook.
I think so
Uh,
too.
yeah, we appreciate the heck out of it. I think that goes without saying, Rick.
Yeah, Chris, thank you very much. Again, want to thank Eric Sell for their continued sponsorship. Chris, we'll see you in Tucson.
All right. See you guys. Thank you.
Take care, man.